American thing where if you're really good at stuff, you got to go, oh, shucks, no, oh, no, I don't, stop it. No. There is way more things you're going to suck at. So if you're good at something, you better be damn proud of it.
Own it.
Damn right. I don't understand that North American thing where if you screw up, everyone says, oh, you got to own it. But if you're super awesome, everybody says you got to be, oh, no, shucks, no, shucks. Pisses me off. All right. Math. As I was asking earlier, before we got slightly off track, how many of you did negative exponents last year? 5 of you.
Were we successful at them? No.
Yes. All right. So, if you have never seen a negative exponent, then I'm going to take 1 second to show you why they work. You, of course, are going to copy it down if you need to or not. 3 squared equals 3 times 3 equals 9. Yes? All right. 3 to the 1. The next logical exponent in descending order as we head towards negatives. Yes? Is a single 3, which equals 3. What is the relationship here? Nathan.
Both of the evaluations are divisible by 3.
Right, absolutely. When I move from one exponent up, I have multiplied by an extra 3, yes? So obviously when I move one exponent down, I have divided by 3, yes? So the next logical exponent on our trip to negativity is 3 to the 0. Can I write 3 to the 0 as repeated multiplication? No, of course not. So right here, this plan breaks down. But we know 3 to the 0 is 1. And I showed you why it's 1 yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So, logically again, 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So logically, the next exponent is negative 1, which I cannot write as repeated multiplication. Right? Because how do I write 3 negative 1 multiplied times? You cannot do it. It makes no sense. But math, according to the textbook you have all used in your life, math makes sense. And it does, because math is the only course you will ever have in school that is always the same. It will never mess with your heads. You think it messes with your heads, but it's not. Math is your best friend, because math would never tell you that those 4 letters can make the sound ooh. But it would also never tell you that those 4 letters can make the sound ow. It would also tell you those 4 letters cannot make the sound off. And yet those 4 letters do make all those sounds. That's why English is stupid. It will mess with your heads. Because the one sound that those letters do not make is the only sound that it should make, which is ugh. Right? Anyway, my personal favorite is that is how you properly spell the word hiccup. They also make the sound up. And people say English is difficult to learn. No, wait. People say English is easy to learn. Everybody should learn English. That's what they say. Anyways, back to this. Math always makes sense. So if we did something twice in a row in math, obviously we're going to continue to do it. And 1 divided by 3 becomes 1/3. Now, what's the next logical one? 3 to the negative 2. What's 1/3 divided by 3? 1/9. Now, all of you should notice something. This number 9, is this number 9 written properly? Or is that number 9 written in a lazy way that math people like to write it? It's the lazy way. How should this 9 properly be written, Jada? 9 over 1. How should this 3 properly be written? 3 over 1. 1 over 1. Now, please notice. 3 to the negative 1, 3 to the positive 1. 3 over 1, 1 over 3. 3 squared, 9 over 1. 3 to the negative 2, 1 over 9. It is a reciprocal. That is what happens. Another way to explain it is this. 5 squared divided by 5 cubed. What should I do with those? Well, that's 5 times 5, right? And that's 5 times 5 times 5, right? Well, what's going to happen here? Gone, gone. What's left? 5 in a denominator. What's up here? Has to be a 1, because if it's a 0, this isn't anything, right? And it's not 0. So, 1 over 5. Now, what is 2 minus 3? 5 to the negative 1. So, if 5 squared divided by 5 cubed equals 1 over 5, and 1 over 5 equals 5 over negative 1, then 5 to the negative 1 must equal 1 over 5, which is the same as 5 over 1. Everyone is cool with this, yes? Everybody has no problem with this. Like, oh yeah, easy, I got it. No, nothing to worry about. But of course you all forget that the reverse must also be true. What is wrong with that? You have a negative exponent, right? Can negative exponents exist? Well, they can't exist at all because we can't write them out, right? We can't do this section. So this is not allowed. And the mistake that students often make is they have no problem recognizing that if there is a negative 1 in a numerator, they just move it to the denominator. But when the negative starts in the denominator, they're, what logically should you do? Tisha, reciprocate it. And it becomes 3 over 2. And 3 over 2 is technically, or 3 squared is technically 3 squared over 1. You just reciprocate. And this, for some reason, boggles the minds of students. Now, over here in red, I've been writing the rules, yes? And we always have the rules. They fill up one nice little square, right? But this one, I like to write 3 different rules. I like to write this one. X to the negative m equals 1 over x to the positive m. 1 over x to the negative m equals x to the positive m. And finally, x over y to the negative m. What does that equal? Logically following everything we've just talked about. Hatisha. Y over x to the positive m. Do any of the other rules change? No. And when we arrive at this point, now right here is where exponents gets complicated. Not difficult, because it's only 6 things you can do, 7 things you can do. But it gets complicated because you may see a different thing to do first before the kid sitting beside you, who might have seen a different thing to do first than what I did. Because there's not really an order of operations here. So what I mean by that is if I were to give you something like this, x squared, x to the 12th over x to the 5th to the negative 2. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on here, isn't there? Look at it for a second. Hatisha, what would you do first? So you would take care of this first. Right? Is everybody okay with that? Would everybody do that first?
Yeah.
I'm asking you, is everybody in the room, is that the first thing you would do? But since Hatisha has chosen to do that first, is it okay to do that first? So what would we have here? X to the 7th to what power? Negative 2. Is that okay? All right. We're going to stick with Hatisha here for now. We've done her first step. Who would do something, or who will volunteer a step right now? What would you do?
For like before or this?
No, right now. If we'd already done Hatisha's step, what would you do now?
Multiply 7 by negative 2.
So you would bring this in here like exponent law 3, and you would get x to the negative 14th. Right? Okay. And then what would your last step be? Following this line. Aditi. You'd reciprocate. So you would have 1 over x to the 14th. Everyone agree? Okay. Now come back up to the top. A lot of you said you would not do what Hatisha did first. So who would like to volunteer a different first step? Pardon? So you would bring this in now. So you would get x to the negative 24 over x to the negative 10. Okay. What would the next step here be? Charlotte. You would subtract what's negative 24 minus negative 10. X to the negative 14. And then your last step would be, of course, to reciprocate. Can anybody think of a third thing I could do as a first step? You already had your turn. Okay, go. You could reciprocate at the very beginning, couldn't you? Which would get you x to the 5th over x to the 12th, all to what power? 2, which would get you x to the... Now what? What would we do next on this step? What would you do, Hatisha? You'd bring the 2 in. X to the 10th over x to the 24th. Right? Now, could I branch off here? Could I do x to the negative 7 to the 2 here? Does everybody see how exponents is getting confusing? You may have an idea of the way you would go, right? But already we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different directions we could go. And this is a super simple exponent question, isn't it? 1 variable and only 1 negative. And there's already 4 directions we can go. Now, if I add some exponents to this, I add some variables to this, I add some coefficients to this, how many different arrows can I make off of here? A lot. Can I possibly teach you every single one? If we were to spend the rest of the exponent unit on one question, yes, I could. Would that be intelligent? Of course not. So that is why you bring the exponent laws to the party however you see fit. But please notice, even if you didn't follow Hatisha's first line, all of you were able to do it, weren't you? If I forced you to follow her, all of you were able to get to the right answer, yes? And then I forced you to follow Shayla, and we were all able to get to the right answer, yes? Because we know the laws. Everybody cool? Now, the orange one, the next move would obviously be 10 minus 24, yeah? So these 10 would cancel out. 10 of them would cancel out, and I'd be left with 1 over x to the 14th. I never actually had a negative exponent there, did I? So I never had to worry about it. Down here, we end up going right back over to here, don't we? And then down. Everybody good? Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we go on and I let you do a bunch of these by yourselves is this move. What if I had x squared y cubed over x y to the negative 4 all to the negative 2? I'm going to do something here that I just said I wasn't going to do. I'm going to force you to do something here because there's a lesson I want to get across to you. Somebody, and I can't remember who it was, whoever did the orange one and reciprocated right away because of the negative exponent. This is a situation like that, yes? I could reciprocate this right away, couldn't I? What would that get me? If I want to deal with that right now, how do I write this expression properly? What do I do with the base when I have that negative exponent. I reciprocate it, yes? So my new numerator is going to be what? X, y to the negative 4. This stays negative over x squared y cubed. All of that is to the positive 2 now, because you can only deal with one exponent at a time. Everybody with me? Now, would I have been allowed to move this up to here right away, then combine them, then reciprocate? Could I do that? Yes. Does everybody understand? It's not complicated. It's basically 5 rules, because we almost never have the exponent as a 0 rule. And apply them how you see fit. Everybody good? All right. So I am going to give you, there are on the next page, the next 2 pages, 35 ones that you should be able to do almost immediately in your head. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Go. Few sounds are louder than the sound of a toilet seat dropping. Especially in our echoey bathrooms. Who would like to choose the color of ink?
Indigo.
Huh? Indigo? No, the best I can do is purple.
First color that came to mind.
All right. What's the first one? Don't all answer at once. It's tough. Rachel. X to the 7th. Lovely work. What's the second one? Lalith.
A to the power of -3.
Lalith. What's that say?
Okay, is it 1 over a to the power of 3?
Abso-smurfly it is. Who's doing 3?
B to the power or B squared.
Pardon me?
B squared.
B squared. And number 4. Jayden. 1 over M. Now choose a color, because that pen is no good. It's too thick. It's ironic, because normally I don't have my work zoomed in this much. But in the year 2020, I have a student in my grade 11 class who cannot see the numbers at the magnification I usually have it at. Get why that's ironic? Because it's year 2020 and she can't see, right? You know, when I woke up on January 1st, I went to throw away my glasses, but no luck. Get it, Lalith? Because it was the year of 2020? But see, turns out I don't even know who you are. Go, Ethan.
Number 5.
I thought you were going to choose the color.
Oh, yeah. The light teal color.
Light teal.
Yeah.
Aqua? All right, hit me.
Okay, and then it's X to the power of 2.
X squared. What about this one? Just holler them out, people. I don't need hands. 1 over x cubed. 7? And 8? And then you make sure you've done them all right and didn't pull a Lalith and not read that giant instruction there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last time I'm going to actually make a point of this instruction. I will always write that instruction on anything I give you, but I should not ever have to write that instruction because there's no such thing as a negative exponent. Okay? So always make your exponents positive. Okay, let's move on. You should be marking them to make sure you have done it right, because if you have gone to the trouble, Roy, of writing something down and then I write down something differently, then you've written down the wrong thing. So you should probably write it down right. Who would like to choose the color for the third row? You guys are lame. Come on. Look at all your choices. Green? Light green? Dark green? Forest green?
Forest green.
Forest green?
Forest green's a good green.
All right. Number 9.
N to the power 6.
N to the 6th, which is a hard word to say.
6.
A lot of people can't say it. A lot of people say 6th.
6.
They do. A lot of people do. It always bugs me.
1 over Z. 6.
Nice use of the XTH phoneme, Roy. Well done.
N to the power 12.
N to the 12th. Also a fun one to say, because FTH don't usually go together.
1 over C4.
1 over C4. Oh, dangerous. C4. Get it. All right, who's choosing the color for the 5th row? Red. Ooh. Oh, trouble. Abso-smurfly correct. Now, technically, because there's no X's here, should we go to our calculator and do this? Technically, we should, but it'll be a giant number and I don't care. I only gave you 2 minutes, right? Obviously, this is about the exponent side of things, yes? 14. A squared over B squared. 15. And 16, the hardest one on the whole page.
I got D to the power of 8 over C to the power of 8.
Absolutely correct. Color?
Blue. Rainbow.
Blue? Well, blue's got many choices. There's light blue, there's aqua, there's turquoise. Turquoise? All right. So, 17, the second hardest one on the whole page.
4B squared over 25C squared.
Nicely done. 18.
9A squared B squared.
Squeaky Shoe Club. 19.
N6 N for Q.
20. What?
1 over C squared D.
Nicely done, ladies and gentlemen. But I would like to remind you that every year, every class kicks this page's ass. And every year, this unit is still the worst unit. So don't rest on your laurels. Don't think, I got this, and drop the mic and walk out. Okay? Color? I'm choosing pink. What's 21?
X cubed over, or X cubed, not over, erase that, get rid of it, don't want to see it, multiplied by 1 over y.
Okay. I see what you're doing here,
I think I did.
but this is technically right. But in math, we don't like that because it's not pretty. Math is very old-fashioned. It likes things to be pretty. So this just moves over there. You don't need the 1. Okay? 22, x. 23,
1 over
a to the 5th, and 24, b cubed. B to the 3rd is acceptable. And let's see, what am I feeling like now? I'm feeling, what's that one?
You need to get something that makes 1 multi.
That's another pink. Dude, that's like a joke people do to people at like their first job. Go get me the can of striped paint. And people always go to find it.
Not okay, but there's oh, I see what you mean. But I'm trying to think. There's no way to get.
Not of which I know.
Oh man.
Number 25.
1.
1?
1.
Why?
Because it is m to the 0.
Yeah, buddy. 26. 1 over x to the 7th. Because negative 5 minus 2 is 7. Or you bring that negative 5 down here and it becomes positive and you're not allowed to have 0 up top. And this is hard to see. That's a 5 and that's a negative 5. So what is 27? S to the 10th. And that is a negative 8 and that is a negative 3. So what is this one?
B cubed over B 8.
Okay, which would be?
Oh, B minus 5,
Which is 1 over b to the 5th. Nice job, Mackenzie. Way to swoop in there and save him like Indiana Jones. Who is one of my favorite movie heroes. You all have seen Indiana Jones movies, yes? None of them? Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade,
It was good.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Nothing?
You guys are missing out.
You really are.
It was good up to the last movie.
Oh, no. Temple of Doom was garbage. Temple of Doom was a piece of crap. And so was Crystal Skull. But Raiders and Last Crusade, Raiders one of the greatest movies ever made, as far as I'm concerned. All right, 29. 1. What's that color right there? Black. Boring. What's that color?
Orange.
Dark yellow. 1.
It's like a mustard. That looks.
It does look a little mustardy.
You've got a mustard stain on that 29.
Now, this is weird because recently kids have been telling me it's a to the 7th x because they don't think that that's times. And that's okay. I will take a to the 7th x or just a to the 7th. And that makes good sense because in all the rest of the examples I use the dot for times. So I actually, the first time a kid said that, I was like, what? Well, it's an x. It's a different base. And I was like, damn, kid. And then I pretended like I did it on purpose. I was like, nice. Good job, kid. But that was like a couple of years ago, so now I don't have to care because that kid's gone and I don't have to give that kid any credit.
I mean, they look different.
I know. But I'm just saying, if you'd written that, it would have been okay. What's this one? M8. This one tricks a lot of people because I put it in brackets on purpose, and they think that 2 going over that bracket means this is m to the 12th. Of course it doesn't, does it? No. And 32. B to the 12th, because everybody always forgets that there's a 1 there when there's no exponent. And 33. X to the 8th. Y to the 5th. 34.
1 over A in B squared.
1 over AB squared. Look at you people. And 35. A simple one to finish off so everybody feels confident. A to the 8, B to the 12th. Lovely! Oh, happy days are here again for math teachers everywhere. When you turn the page over, you see a whole bunch of exponent questions on the next 2 pages. Hopefully you notice that some of them are circled. Yeah? Those are the minimum. If you do those and you get them all perfect, you're in very, very good shape. Okay? But as the year progresses, some of you are going to start saying, ooh, Mr. Myers, I need a little more practice. Do you have any extra worksheets? And I'll say no. But I will say I have C, E, and I. C, and E on these pages. You picking up what I'm putting down? If you're the type of kid that says to your teachers, oh, I could really use some extra practice, I already know that there are kids like that. So I've already built extra practice in to your workbooks. That's how efficient I am. I know, right? Perhaps, Nathan, we can add to your bucket list a day where we prepare a workbook together. I'm just kidding, you know. I am not meaning to bug you. I understand. Huh? That sounds boring, but watching me do a cartwheel doesn't. That's a very interesting situation that you people find yourselves in. Do you agree with Nathan's assessment of life here?
Kind of.
Really? Interesting. Okay. Okay, so you people, this is your homework today, and I'm giving you 37 minutes to do it. Page 16 and 17. All right? All the circled ones at least. And you may now pee and get water and do whatever it is you need to do. Yes. Pardon me? Yes. Now, what? Yes? Why wouldn't I have? Hatisha reminded me to. And look, the little red light is flashing. 2020. Right there. You're on a different calendar?
He's on his own time zone.
He's like Newfoundland?
Yeah, but they just haven't gotten.
What was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, this is what I was going to say. No, I'll say it later. But you can do it. You can do this. Oh. All right. I have to start the banking spreadsheet for my first depositors. And I have to take attendance.